Welcome everybody. Yeah, very excited about this particular webinar. Been looking forward to it for months. We've had over 100 people sign up, so it looks as though there's lots of people with lots of interest in this particular topic. And of course, it's been a burning issue since S4HANA was launched all those years ago. How to get the business buy-in and the C-suite engagement to get that investment in S4HANA and put the right business case forward to take the business on that journey. So yeah, it should be really interesting. For those of you that don't know me, I'm one of the co-founding directors here at Blue Wave Select. We're SAP recruitment specialists on a global level, placing contract, permanent and statement of work on generally S4 business transformations. We've been set up for about 10 years now, and in fact we've got our 10th year anniversary party in London in May. Should be about 200 clients and candidates, so very much looking forward to that. We're SAP specialists, very passionate about SAP, as is no doubt everybody on the call. So today we are joined by Roberta Watts. Hi, Roberta.
Hello.
Hi. Roberta's CIO of Ardagh Glass, comes from a 20-year strong SAP background. Roberta's absolutely exceptional at taking the business on a journey, speaking the language of the business, helping that business really drive the value out of technology, for the kind of business benefits. So we've known each other for about 15 years, I think. Is that right, Roberta?
Yeah, it is. You're too kind to me, Johnny. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, really looking forward to this conversation. So yeah, just to kind of frame it, the session will last about 30 minutes. So it'll be recorded for everybody. We'll do a transcript and we'll do timestamps as well on the different questions. So hopefully it'll be really valuable and very accessible for people to use, whether that's with teams or just to kind of learn and share. And finally, just to kind of point out, as always, we offer free advisory calls with people similar to Roberta from our network of SAP experts. So that's a kind of 1 hour free lessons learned kind of advisory chat, no obligation at all, and it can be for anything across the whole SAP program, whether it's deep technical business process, any challenges you have in it, might be leadership, or of course it could be linked with putting together that business case for S4HANA. So should we jump in, Roberta?
Let's get started.
Ready to go.
And the advisory sessions are really good, I have to say. So very useful to anyone who's doing anything around SAP. Really, we've done a few, haven't we? So
yes, we have. Yeah, it's been very valuable.
Yeah.
People, yeah. So excellent. Well, yeah, we've got 5 main questions, so I'll kind of just run through. I'll jump in with the first one. So, and that's how would you what's the best way to kind of pitch to SAP, how SAP leaders might pitch to C-suite for different priorities around S4HANA? What questions are being asked? What do they want to know? How to get that engagement, CFO, CEO level? Yeah. So what do you think?
It's a good question, and it's as it's one over the years that's been a challenge for myself and my teams as well. So I have jotted down a few notes because there are there's many things you have to think about, and it's very much about tuning into what your business stakeholders want. So a CFO has certain drivers, a CEO have different drivers, your COOs have different drivers again. So I can never say enough, you have to engage with your stakeholders, but get also to the boots on the ground, because those guys know where the true pain points are. So once you've done that, I mean, hopefully you're working with all kinds of business process owners and you're very well engaged with your business, but that is key to start with. It is really key to understand where they're going, what do they want for any S4 program, because we all know people say, why would we do it? Why would we spend all this money? And we are sometimes talking tens of millions of pounds, right, to do
Yes,
an S4.
absolutely. Yeah.
An
Hundreds
S4
of
program
millions
is
of pounds, isn't
expensive, right?
Yeah.
And getting a business case is hard. So I always tend to break it down into, what are the business drivers? So there's a bunch of business benefits there. So you can be looking at your working capital. So looking at things like inventory management, accounts receivables, accounts payables, etc. There's a whole chunk of working capital benefits out of an S4 implementation. They're big, they're one-off benefits. You can get 15, 20 million out of that easily. It's really easy to do. Obviously, you've got your normal data and analytics. What can you do around servicing your data better, around standardizing your data? That gives you all kinds of benefits. And there's different tricks and techniques you can use to quantify that as well. And a lot of these benefits are financial. Let's be honest, CFOs, they care about the numbers, right? So get your numbers in there and get those numbers into those business cases. Enhanced functionality is a given, lower clicks to transact. How can you improve your processes? How can you reduce the amount of effort on your workforce? Again, it comes back to numbers, it comes back to speeding up how your business is working. So if I take an example at a previous company I worked for, we had EWM, different system, really expensive to have ECC plus your EWM system. You move it onto ECC, it's gone. So instantly you have hosting savings, you have support team savings, you have all that integration happening in S4. So, look for those easy options like that, where you've got your kind of integrated applications, you've got these other applications where the functionality is all now in S4, and really challenge that, really look at your total cost of ownership for those systems and pull it into your S4 business case. It's another layer of benefits that people forget about, and it's normally big. They're big numbers, right? Yeah, they're really compelling benefits. And then if we look at things like system consolidation, so some of you, I'm assuming, will have a single instance SAP. That's great. You work up your business case, you work up your hosting savings, your financial savings, your people savings. If you've got multiple SAP systems, and this is where I'm finding the S4 case really interesting and where it really stacks up. If you've got 3 or 4 ECCs, you've got your legacy ECCs. Many of us work in businesses that are global, they have regional systems. They're the ones to hit. So the business case is great for these guys. So you then look at your journey around, how do I move that onto one instance of S4? Because let's be honest, you probably don't need 4 anyway. There's a huge amount of cost in there from the TCO perspective. And actually, by moving to an S4 program, you can get all of those fantastic business benefits plus all the financial benefits in there. And there's some tips we will share as well around how you can break the program down, because these programs are scary.
That sounds really interesting.
They're big, dirty programs that everyone's slightly terrified of from a cost perspective and a how do we do this well perspective. My model is break it down into manageable chunks. So don't try. Don't try to bite it all off in one go if you don't need to. So there's different mechanisms you can use around how you move your host into cloud. If you want to go to cloud, how do you upgrade your first system and then slowly consolidate each year every legacy system you have? So then you have 4 projects instead of one big project, which is
and I guess it's easier to kind of persuade and take people on a journey when it's not £1 million budget for the program. It might be a 15 million pound budget, and then these are the benefits, and then on to the next.
Exactly. So you start showing from the first one, here was my benefits case, here's my benefits realization. I'm proving that everything I said I was going to deliver for you, I'm delivering. And now let's move on to the next one. And the beauty is, you've already got your working capital savings, you've already got your people savings, your hosting savings, your support savings are all there. You're then just building up on that moving forward. So it's a nice model to use. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So what would you say is the best way to demonstrate the true value of S/4HANA to the business? And there's over the years, of course, lots of people have kind of been thinking that it's really a cash cow for SAP in terms of the upgrade, and it has been really difficult to get the business case for some organisations, and shifting from the ECC mindset to S/4HANA.
Yeah, and I mean, to answer that, some of it is around your contracting, right? So every company will get a different deal from SAP. Let's be honest, we all know that. We all know and love and hate their licensing models, don't we?
Yeah.
And again, I've done some clever stuff with on-prem, moving it to cloud, moving it to SAP Rise as well. I'm not sure how good the deals are this year, but last year there were some pretty good deals out there to be had with SAP.
Yes.
But from a buying perspective, break it down and make it easy. So I always, I suppose, work from the bottom up to some degree. So I'll look at what's this all costing me now. So, okay, from a TCO perspective of just run, what does that look like? What would it look like in the new world? And it might be that you can get some savings by moving to Rise on Azure, AWS, or whatever you have, whatever your preference is, from your old technology. Quite often you can pull 30-40% out of an old hosting model and put it into a new one, and you've got fantastic savings to be had there. So look at that. Look at what your support models are looking like. So how do you support this thing right now? Do you outsource? Do you have offshore teams? Do you have low-cost location teams? What do you have? There'll be some stuff there that if you start to look at target operating models and how you're going to set yourself up afterwards, you can build all of that into your business case as well. And then look at the next level up, which is your real business facing, and break it down. So you've got data and analytics. There's clever stuff in there which will give you savings, particularly if you're on a multi-legacy ECC estate and you're moving to one. There'll be loads of savings in that space. You can start cleansing your data, consolidating. You can get master data management working really cohesively, that then leads to your data and your data and analytics, which is what the CEOs, the CFOs want. That all comes out of the back end, and you get significant saving there. Look at your working capital, deep dive into that. I use some really clever tools actually that SAP have. So SAP can work with you on this. Okay, you fill out I think it's a 300 question questionnaire. You fill it out, and it is massive, it's huge, but it's fantastic. It asks you things like how many POs do you process, what's your revenue, etc., etc. But the output of that, and a lot of people say, oh, it doesn't work, but it does. So you take that and then you deep dive into the areas that you're coming out as your biggest savings. And that's when you really deep dive into it and use your partners. I used my partners to do that. Okay, SAP is saying I can achieve 10 million of working capital. Now, how do I do that? Turn that into an actionable item that resonates with your business, where you can actually say to your ops managers, your CFOs, this is what we're going to do in this part of the system, and this is the output from your business case. So really dig into what really is relevant for you, because they'll come up with they'll boil the ocean and come up with everything, right? That's never real. It never is. Err on the side of caution, but be really specific. So that's what I do. Get super
what it means
specific
for them. Yeah,
exactly. Don't take everything, because you won't get it. Take the ones that you know S4 will deliver for you, put them in your business case, and it will soon stack up to a pretty good number, really.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Have you got any tips on how to overcome the cost concerns about the investment into S/4HANA?
Yeah, so it's out there, right? The costs. There's many partners out there that do S4, let's be honest, and many different ways of doing it. I would say pick the right partner. So do your homework. Try not to bounce around between partners. Let's be honest, you're never going to do these projects on your own. And really set yourself up for success from the beginning. So every project I see that's over budget, that's running over time, it's because it wasn't planned properly in the first place. It wasn't set up for success. So I would say pick the right SI, get them working with them, you get them engaged with your business. So I always say there's like a triangle in a project. You have the business, you have our
Yeah.
IT guys, and you have the SI. They're one team. They can never be working against each other. They have to be working in tandem to really ensure that the costs that you have, you're reaching, that you're not overspending, because that's the issue. An SAP project, you know, it's going to cost you 10, 20, 30 million, let's be honest. How you manage that is key. Now there are some clever things you can do around data. So we always say data, change management, testing. They're always pain points on projects, right? They're always expensive. Now, what I found with S4 is there are some companies out there, and I can share it with you, Johnny, afterwards if needed, who can really do the data migration piece of these projects well, and take the opportunity, cleanse your data while you're doing it, migrate your data in the right way and get it into S4. There's some savings there, rather than, you know, the old traditional way of doing data migration, really.
Yeah, I think I know the companies that you're talking about, but yeah, that would be fantastic. I'm sure there's some
I don't know if I can say on a call.
Not now.
Maybe not right now. So, but they are, you know, the big SIs work with all of these companies.
Yes,
so
they've got real strong partnerships, haven't they?
Yeah.
And of course, I suppose what you were saying earlier about the budget and the kind of staged approach would help overcome any cost concerns, because the C-suite can see that benefit over a short period of time.
Exactly. If you can break it down over multiple years, they will love that. That's, you know, no one's going to want a 20 million project in 1 year, right? So if there's a way you can spread it over multiple years, it might be at the beginning, you do your business requirements, you do your get ready for your data cleansing. There's stuff you can do up front to stretch these projects in the right way, build it so it's palatable, and then obviously you implement and get your business case through. So it's
sounds good.
Yeah.
And how about sourcing strategies? How do you select the right approach to meet the business goals?
Yeah,
and
that's
hybrid SI, you know.
It's a good, I mean, you know, I've been around S4 since it was a sidecar, right, in BW back in the day, whatever that was. That was a long time ago, wasn't it? Yeah. And there are, to me, it's all about the right partners. So it has to be you know, I'm saying partner because they're not just suppliers for you. So I always have a model where I use the partners for the right skills. Okay, they're good at S4 for a reason. They know how to do this stuff. They're doing it over and over again now. But also be really conscious of the stuff you need to maintain within your team. So your business people, they have to be embedded in your project. Your key program manager, it has to be your own person who is running this. You have to have your business project manager as well. I wouldn't do an S4 program without someone on the business side accountable for that project, as much as one of my program managers is, and as much as the SI is. So I would say you have to gel, right, with the SI. I get them in as quickly as possible. So I get them in at the start of, what's my strategy? What are the options open to me? Are we going blue, brown, green field? How are we going to deal with our data? How much business change is there? You know, are we looking to actually change our finance processes significantly, or are we quite happy with how this is done? How much transformation do you really want to do? So figure all of that out at the beginning. You'll soon know if your SI gets your company and whether you gel with them and you have that partnership. But that's what I tend to do. I don't like messing around with lots of different partners in this space. I like to, even when it comes to data, I back that off through one of the partners, because I like to have one person you
even
hold
though it might be
accountable.
that specialist company that you're talking about, they work together.
Yeah, they'll work together, and usually they'll have relationships, right? Anyway, so at least then you're holding one person accountable for that project. But that, I mean, that's the key for me. You can, you know, you'll all have your own strategic sourcing models, right, as to how you use. But for me, it's about the partner that knows my business is the best, one of the best out there for S4. You know, there's a number of them out there, and who can really, when things go wrong, because they will go wrong, let's be honest, there isn't an SAP program out there that doesn't have problems.
I've been doing it 20 years, and there's always challenges.
Exactly. Let's be clear. They're never going to go, right, who's the partner who's going to step in and help you fix that without change controlling you to death, right? Where it's a real give and take. So business change, think about business change. Most companies are terrible at it. Absolutely shocking. Have you got a partner that can do business change as well and help take your business on the journey of S4? So
And how do you feel about, of course, we place, change teams or testing teams, for example. Do you often take a bit of a hybrid approach in terms of taking on direct contractors or new headcount for permanent teams?
Absolutely, yeah. So I tend to use I have my SIs for a reason, I have my permies for a reason, but there's always room for contractors and other sourcing type models, whether it's that I come to you and say, can you spin me up a test team, right? Or can you spin me up a change management function, or can I have 10 contractors? Absolutely, they have their place. You need the expertise, the S4 expertise, which are out there, and let's be honest, they're in the contract world. They're not really in the perm world, are they? I would say your program manager, you have to have an internal, in my opinion. I wouldn't, but trying to find someone again who has S4 skills is hard. So maybe you flip that between a very hands-on stakeholder and a contract program manager, possibly. But I tend to, I kind of have a chunk of the doing go into my SI. I have my contractors fill in a number of roles, but I have my technical architects, my solution architects, my business people. They all come out of the business. That's a given. I don't think you can flex with additional resources, but I think those people have to be your internal team that know your business inside out, really.
Absolutely.
And you know it, Johnny. I've worked with you guys for a long time now, because you get it. You get the SAP world, you get my world. I've worked in manufacturing for a hell of a long time now. You get the industry, and you get me as well, and that's really important, I think, to pull together a team that's really functioning, a very heavily functioning team. So
that's kind of fully integrated, working together, and
absolutely.
that kind of deep business background as well.
And that's a mindset thing, right? Because you can have contractors where you think, oh, I don't want contractors, I want to. But if you get people who live and breathe the culture of your business and the team that you've built, it just gels. It isn't something.
That sounds good. And how does this kind of all fit with the target operating model and designing that long term?
It has to change, right? Slightly. So the classic models still work. So you know me, commodity services, I like to give them to someone else to run. That isn't something I necessarily like to do myself. All of that's the same. The chances are you're going to move to a cloud hosting model, right? So you can push that off to a cloud partner. You don't even have to really take accountability. Well, you need to take accountability, but you don't have to own that yourself. You put a wrapper around the top. Support will be different, because the likelihood is your internal support teams are ECC. You've got to bring them up to the S4 model if you're in and out. Exactly. And it is different. And people, I remember working with a company once where they were kind of like, oh, well, it's all the same as ECC. And it's like, no, it isn't actually. It looks completely different. It is different. So be conscious of that. If you're outsourcing, it's easier because your outsourcing partners will already be bringing their S4 today. So that's going to be, it's going to be easier, I think, to move that to an outsourcer. Internal, get the teams embedded, get them embedded in the program, get them trained up in S4 if you're sticking with an internal support model. And then your solution architects, your SMEs, to be honest, they should be crawling all over your projects anyway. and being embedded in
inside and
this.
out.
So
Yeah.
yeah, but I'll be honest, I'm not seeing a huge difference in how you would operate really. You know, you've still got your hosting, you've still got support, you've still got ongoing continuous improvement, you've still got projects you're going to do. It, you know, is this SAP, isn't it? It is.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well in terms of that ECC mindset and making sure that the people, you know, the internal team understand what S4 can actually do for the business, because we have seen a number of businesses upgrade to S4, but not really fully utilising the you know, different benefits of S4, because the you know, the team still got that ECC mindset. But I suppose that's where kind of specialist partners really come in as well to help.
They do.
You know, drive the value out of S4 for the business.
Exactly. And if they're good, if they're a good partner, they'll bring your team along as well on the journey.
Exactly, yeah, all the knowledge transfer and
it's very much about that. You want a nice you want a good relationship, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh well, we've gone through the 5 questions. Is there anything that you think we might have missed along the way? We've got a few minutes. Did you cover everything in your notes?
Yeah, just don't be terrified of it. So I'm hearing all kinds of horror stories around the cost of S4 implementations and how hard it is. And I would say challenge everything, you know, get 2 opinions if you need to, because one partner will have a completely different model and price point to another one. They'll have a different implementation plan, you know, how you phase it. Do you go big bang? They might push you down greenfield when you don't really need to go greenfield. I've seen that a lot, where they're trying to push you to a greenfield, much more expensive implementation. But if your ECC is good, do you know what? Keep what you have that's good and upgrade that instead. And that, I think that's what I'm that's what I'm kind of seeing in the manufacturing world, is you don't want to chuck away what you know, you've probably spent 20 years building.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
What a waste.
Yeah, I suppose on that point, actually, the advisory lessons learned sessions that we mentioned earlier might be quite useful to get that second opinion. Maybe there's some, you know, different SIs and partners that clients have spoken to, but it might be useful to get some independent kind of advice. A lot of the people have been on both sides of the SI and the end user, so it could be quite useful. So that's absolutely fantastic. Well, yeah, thanks, Roberta. It's
thank you. I hope that was helpful.
Yeah, hopefully it's really interesting, and hopefully it's been helpful for everybody on the call. We've had 109 people listening, so that's fantastic. Thanks everybody for joining us, and of course a reminder on the advisory side of things, my email should be in the chat, and the playback should be available within the next 24 hours. Any questions, well, if you're happy with this, Roberta, if anyone can pop that in the chat, and then we'll just come back to them over the next few days. Yeah, we shall leave it at that. That's been great. Really good to chat, and yeah, see you soon, Roberta.
See you soon. Take care. Have a good day, guys. Cheers.
Bye.